Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Welcome
wait.
back to the Tinmore podcast. Yes, it's been a while. We were on a break for a long time, but we're back for season 2. Yay!
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 Season
Don't
1.5.
pass.
So
Yes.
I'm joined by Koso
Ah!
and by Milku,
That's me.
and today we're gonna be reading Secret of the Unicorn. Yay!
Yay!
So,
Yeah, it's a
How
fan favorite.
exciting.
Yeah, so the comic opens and it's like, yep, there's been a bunch of robberies in the past few weeks. It's pickpockets, so like watch out and stuff. And
No, it's a pickpocket gang.
yeah, they're a gang.
Better watch out for the pickpocket gang.
Oh man. But yeah, then we see Thompson and Thompson, our favorite duo, and they're just walking down the street, and it's like we had to keep our eyes open for pickpockets. And since we're cops, let's go to the Old Street Market. Because Tintin said he'd be there this morning, and maybe we'll meet him. And Tintin is in the market, and he's just wandering around with Snowy. And then he sees the Thompsons first, and he's like, oh, how are you guys? And they're like, oh, it's Tintin. And Tintin's like, hey, what are you guys doing here? And one of the Thompsons is like, oh, it's super confidential. We're looking for pickpockets. And the other one's like, yeah, but we're also like having fun looking at walking sticks. So,
It's too relatable.
right? I buy walking sticks all the time from the old market.
Yeah. I'm like this homeless man.
Yeah. Just like glue them all together, have like 8 extra arms. It's not even a big deal.
Ultra walking stick.
What's wrong with Snowy? Why is he scratching himself so much?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
he
think he
is.
just is.
It's like the top panel, the panel above that, he's in like the same position. It's like, Snowy, are you okay?
Hergé just didn't want to draw him in a different position.
Like, you know what? Yeah. Who needs normal positions?
Right? Nothing is normal anymore. The concept is disappeared forever. Anyway,
Bard.
so they buy the sticks, and it's like, they say how much for it, and the guy says 8 bob for the lot, and it's like, kind of a like, I've never heard the term bob used for anything. It's so weird.
My version is just the 25 franc. Franc. France.
But yeah,
You need to bring me 8 bobs.
8 people named Bob or else.
Yes. That's
Look, you're
Which
buying
is so
like
much story.
you're buying like 8 sticks. That's at least 8 people named Bob. Okay?
yes, bring them to me.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
dark tone.
So they end up buying the sticks for 7 shillings because they changed it to shillings in the next panel.
What?
And
Plot
I
twist.
don't know, right? Biggest plot twist. But one of the Thompsons like, oh, see, Tintin, you gotta haggle just a little. And he reaches inside his jacket for his wallet and realizes it's been stolen. And the other Thompson's like, he's like, maybe you just left it at home or like lost it or something. And he's like, no, it's been stolen, I promise. And the other one is like, oh, I'll pay for it, don't worry, just whatever. And he's like, oh, this is just the kind of thing that happened to you, getting your wallet stolen. And then he realizes that his is gone too. So they both got pickpocketed. Of course they did.
Yeah.
And then
Both of
Tintin,
them.
yeah, they both got pickpocketed. That's what you get for, buying walking sticks, I guess. It's a good thing they just have to go find like 8 people named Bob, and then they can have the walking sticks. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, who needs
Evil.
wallets? Or is this like, was there a bob in my wallet? I hope not.
Hope there wasn't a bomb in my wallet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully.
hopefully. But yeah, Tintin, being the nice guy he is, pays for their walking sticks, and the Thompson's like, thank you, we'll pay you back tomorrow. And they leave with their walking sticks, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna go report this right away. And they have the walking, or one of them has the walking sticks under his arm, and the way it's like the hook is at the other end, and it ends up catching this guy's suitcase, and so the guy freaks out because like, oh, you're trying to steal my suitcase, and so the Thompsons get into a fight and arrested.
Oh god.
Is it just me, or does it look like the police guy? He has like a bowl on his head instead of a helmet.
He forgot his helmet at home and accidentally he's like, oh, I need a helmet, so he just grabs the bowl and draws on it with marker, hopes no one notices.
This will work.
This will work just fine.
Mm.
Yeah. So Tintin just continues to walk down in the market because he doesn't realize it's Thompson and Thompson who got arrested. So it doesn't matter. And Tintin happens upon this really nice model ship. And he's like, oh, I think Captain Haddock would really like this. And Tintin asks how much it is, and the guy's like, oh, it's just a quid. It's pretty unique. It's very old. And Tintin's like, I'll give you 17 and 6 for it. And the guy's like, sold. And then this other guy comes up right by Tintin and is like, how much is that ship? And the seller is like, oh, I just sold it to this guy over here. And so this other guy, he turns to Tintin and he's like, I am going to buy this from you. And Tintin's like, no, I think I'll keep it, thanks. And this other guy's like, look, I'm a collector. I'll give you double for whatever you paid for it. And Tintin says again, I'm keeping it, thanks. And a different guy comes in. And he also wants to buy the ship. And he's like, and Tintin's like, it's not for sale. And so these two guys are just harassing Tintin for the ship. And eventually he's just like, look, I'm not selling it to you because this is for a friend of mine. Please leave me alone. And he goes home and he's like, I wonder why they were like so intent on buying this ship. Goodness gracious. And so a few minutes later, he like sets it up on a desk in his house or whatever, and he's like, oh, Captain Haddock is going to love this, and it's very nice. It's very sweet of Tintin. And his doorbell rings, and Tintin's like, oh, that must be Haddock. But then it's the other guy, the first guy who tried to buy the ship. Tintin's, oh man, he's probably thinking like, did this guy follow me home, what? And
He just runs behind him.
yeah.
With his like I love ships t-shirt.
Under his coat, he's just got a shirt that says, I love ships. But yeah, he's like, please forgive me if I'm being like way too persistent about this, but I'm a collector of model ships, and I really want this ship from you. And Tintin's like, no, I already told you I bought this for a friend. And the guy's like, yeah, now I have other ships just as good as this one, and you can exchange one of those for that ship for your friend. And Tintin's like, no, I'm keeping it. Please stop talking. And the guy's like, okay, fine. But think it over. I'll give you my card in case you change your mind. And Tintin's like, don't count on it, but okay. And the guy leaves, and Tintin closes the door, and Snowy knocks over the thing. Tintin, like, chucks the card onto a table, and he's like, Snowy, what'd you do? And so Snowy, gosh dang it. Tintin's like, oh, now it's broken. There's like 3 masts on this ship, and the middle one got broken. And Tintin's like, oh, it's not too bad. I can probably fix it up soon. And his doorbell rings, and it's like, oh, that time it must be the captain. And this time it is. Yay!
Yay!
And Tintin's like, oh, I'm so glad you are here. I have a surprise for you. And he shows him the ship, and Haddock's like, wow, this is great. And he's like, oh my gosh, Tintin, where'd you find it? And Tintin's like, in the Wall Street Market, why? And Haddock's like, oh, there's a great coincidence. Can you imagine that? And he's like, Tintin, come with me, you have to see this. And I love this panel, just the way Haddock grabs Tintin's arm and Tintin's like, It's very funny.
We must
And
go.
he's just like, I guess I'll follow him.
Yeah. I mean, Haddock has something to show him, of course.
It's like, yeah, he's got a quest.
Yeah, Tintin's like, oh, alright. So yeah,
I will
they
give you 10 bobs for this quest.
reward for this side quest, 10 bobs. It's enough to buy 8 whole walking sticks. Anyways, they arrive at Haddock's place and he shows Tintin this portrait painting of this like sailor guy, and there's a ship in the background. And Tintin's like, is that you? And Haddock's like, no, it's one of my ancestors, Francis Haddock. And he lived...
Also, I like how there's like so many ships that he's got on his wall. Like,
I know.
he's got solid 3 other painting of ships.
Well, how else are you supposed to know he's a captain, Koso?
Unsinkable 1, 2, and 3.
But yeah.
To be a captain, you need to be really into ships.
Yeah.
Yes. You
Haddock
must.
Haddock has a t-shirt that also says I love ships on it. It's under the sweater. But yeah, it turns out that the portrait is like of an ancestor, and the ship in the background is exactly the same ship that Tintin now has a model of. And Haddock's like, oh, isn't that crazy remarkable? And Tintin reads the name on the ship, the Unicorn. And Haddock's like, oh, I never noticed that. Somehow, with a painting that's sitting in his own home, he didn't notice that. But anyway. And Tintin's like, oh, maybe there's a name on the model ship, and I'll run home and see if it's on there. And he goes into his house and he's like, oh, the ship's gone! And he calls Haddock.
No.
He calls
Oh,
Haddock.
plot twist.
Oh, right, it's like such
Plot
a plot
twist.
twist. He's gone for like 10 minutes and it gets stolen. Someone's like waiting outside the door. Finally!
Finally. Good thing he didn't lock his door.
Right?
Yeah, it really does look effortless. Just come into his room.
I mean, you'd think Tintin would first of all be more careful because he's always getting into trouble, but also I think he was
Being
probably...
hunted by several gangs.
Right?
I mean, to be fair, Captain Haddock literally just like pulled him out of his apartment.
Yeah, I don't think Tintin really had like the time to lock his door. He just closed it. We're lucky he closed the door at all, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tintin calls Haddock and is like, oh, it was stolen. And Tintin's like, it's like a back and forth. And Tintin's like, I don't really have any suspects. And I'll call you later if I do, I guess. And Tintin sees, the card that the collector gave him earlier, because it's sitting by the phone. And the card reads, Ivan Ivanovich Sakharin. And so Tintin puts on his coat. He like runs over to the address, and
I like how his job is just collector. That's like
yeah,
I like
he
his
just collects
I like
shit.
his very clean fingernail.
yeah.
I'm
Tintin,
just like, y'all are just like reading the card, and I'm like, that's a nice finger.
I mean, to be fair, it is. Tintin keeps himself
Right.
clean.
It's the
Solid
same
color
color as his
fingers.
skin.
Wow.
That's probably not concerning.
No, not at all. Don't worry about it.
First
yeah.
thought.
Yes, my first thought is like finger.
First thought.
It do be like that sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, he arrives and it's like, or Snowy's like, I have a feeling we're on another one of our adventures. Very self-aware of him. And so Tintin like rings the bell, and Tintin's like, oh, I bet he's gonna be surprised when he opens the door. And Sakharin is like, oh, I was expecting you. And Tintin's like, you were? Then you know why I came then. And Sakharin's like, of course I do. You came to tell me that you're gonna sell that ship after all. And Tintin's like, absolutely not. And Sakharin's like, I don't understand then. What is happening? And Tintin's like storming through the building or whatever. He's like, "Is this where you keep your collection? My ship is stolen, and that right there looks just like it, exactly like it." And Saccharin's like, "No, no, no, it's a mistake. I've had this ship for like 10 years." And Tintin's like, "But you were trying to buy one just like it from me like less than 2 hours ago." And Saccharin is like, "Oh, that wasn't the ship. Yours was just exactly the same, but it's not this one." And Tintin's like, "Indeed?" Which I just think is a really funny response.
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
And then he's just like, protests right after saying that.
Yeah. But
He's just like,
Tintin...
well,
No, go ahead.
you make a good point, but I have something to say.
Tintin's
Basically.
like, yeah, well, that's a good point, but my ship was stolen and it's broken, so I'll be able to tell if this ship is the one that was literally just stolen from me. And it turns out it's not. It's just an identical ship. So, oops. And the guy's like, "Oh, I guess you're surprised." And I was too when I saw that there was a literal exact replica of this ship in the market. And that's why I wanted to buy this ship from you. And you see like the back of the ship, and sure enough on the back is painted the name Unicorn. So it's the same ship as Haddock's ancestors' boat, ship, whatever. And so Tintin's like,
Boat.
But yeah, Tintin's like, "I am very sorry." And the guy's like, "No, don't worry about it. If you find your ship, let me know." And Tintin, he's like smiling. He's like, "Oh, that's so weird. Two ships that are exactly the same as the one in the picture. Huh." And so Tintin's like, "This seems like a mystery.
I like how he also says, like, if you find your ship, think about me.
If you find your
It's like
ship,
a love story.
think
If you
about
find your
me."
ship, let me know so I can try to buy it.
Yeah. "If you find your OTP, let me know, because I want to know if we ship the same people." But yeah.
Basically.
But Tintin's like, "Oh, I'm going to call Haddock right away. He'll be amazed." And he walks up to a phone booth, and like someone's in it. So Tintin's like standing out in the rain waiting for this person. And he's getting...
Why does he say engaged? He's just like, engaged. Like if you walk into a bathroom and like somebody's like occupying the stall, you don't just say like engaged out loud.
I know. Tintin's kind of weirded out.
I am engaged in the toilet. Will you move away?
Yeah. Like when somebody tries to open the bathroom stall, you just say engaged.
Right?
And the other person on the other side's like, okay.
That's like the most passive aggressive way of saying it. Engaged.
Oh, jeez.
I'm engaged. Go away.
I'm engaged.
When it's like a voice command toilet. Engaged, flush.
Engaged, just like those two guys from Shooting Star were. Or no, it was just the one guy. Anyways, Shooting Star.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways.
Shooting Star.
Anyways, but moving on from that, Tintin is getting mad. He's like, "I can't believe how long some people can talk on the phone. It's been like a quarter of an hour at least." And Tintin's been sitting in the rain this whole time, so like, you know, and then this woman comes out.
Tintin, don't you have like a phone at home? You could go home for like less than an hour probably.
Yes, but he has to tell Haddock immediately. He can't wait at all.
I can't wait for an hour, but I will wait out in the rain for an hour for this phone.
Right? But the person inside turns out that it was this lady just like hiding from the rain. And Tintin gets in the phone booth. He's so mad at this lady. It's really funny. But
Oh my god.
he calls
Occupied.
he calls the captain, and it's like, oh, he's not home. So,
We did all
you
that
know,
for nothing.
yeah, he waited in the rain for like 25 minutes or whatever, and Haddock didn't even pick up.
Maybe Haddock was occupied as well.
I was in the washroom for 25 minutes, kid. I'm sorry.
I was engaged in the bathroom.
I was engaging myself. You know
Oh
what?
boy, that sounds bad.
Okay, so moving
I
on.
was engaging myself. Move away, child.
So Tintin figures it must have been that other guy who tried to buy the ship. And so he goes back home and he's like, oh, the door's open. And, cause, yeah. And
What do you know?
What do you know? And he goes in.
I guess he doesn't lock his door.
I guess not. Otherwise, this person broke in with a lockpick. But I guess Tintin just does not lock his doors at all. But yeah, Tintin's house is just completely ruined. There's books and papers everywhere. And Tintin's first thought upon seeing, like, his second thing he says after my flat's been ransacked is, look at what they did to my books. Relatable.
I like
Holy
how that's
crap.
also the only thing we can see. That's like a dark room, but just books and papers.
Tintin just,
There's nothing.
he just has books in his apartment, nothing else. Honestly,
Or
same.
Tintin's like, no, they stacked my books. Why are they stacked in that way?
That's such a terrible way to stack books. As a bookworm with like 60-something books all of my own, you cannot put like the big books on top because that's just,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you can't do that. But honestly,
Like-
You cannot engage in the books like that.
yeah.
How dare you stack my books?
How dare you
It's like-
I had my shelf organized exactly how I wanted it. Look at what you've done.
Book enthusiast.
That'd be me. Honestly, Tintin's just like so upset about his books. He's like picking them up.
Papers.
He's so upset. And then Tintin's like, oh, I was burgled twice in one day. That's not bad at all. Because of course.
Did he just give a compliment to the...
To himself.
He's impressed that someone
So
broke
could it
in
be?
twice. He's like, burgled twice in one day. That's a new record for me. But yeah, he's like
Yeah.
trying to figure out what they took and stuff. And he's like, they're very strange thieves. Because it doesn't seem like they took anything. It looks like they just were looking for something. And Tintin,
They just looked at this stuff.
they
That's
just
fascinating.
looked. They're looking for a specific book that he borrowed or something.
I wonder if I
It is
can
the
borrow this
library.
book.
It's the next
Engage.
It's the next morning, and Timpson and Thompson are there, ringing on Tintin's doorbell. I don't know why they didn't come, like, the day before, after he was robbed twice. But anyways, they, like, have their faces all beat up, or I guess it's because they were in prison, you know? So that's why they didn't come. But they show up at Tintin's door, they have, like, bruises all over their face, and Tintin's like, what happened to you guys? And they're like, we had a little bit of trouble yesterday, but, just a slight misunderstanding. Don't worry about it. We've come to pay you back for those walking sticks. And one of them says, we called you last night, but you were out, and so, yeah. And Tintin's like, did you get your wallets
Engage
back?
in a fight.
Yeah. Tintin's like, yeah, I was waiting for a phone booth in the rain for 25 minutes.
I was engaged in the rain.
I was engaged.
All of my time I was engaged, it was in rain.
When I could have been engaging with the phone booth. That sounds
What was
so
he-
wrong.
Yeah.
First podcast.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways, so the Thompson that Tintin's talking to he's like, I had to go out and buy a new wallet. It's crazy. And then he finds out he's been robbed again.
Great snakes.
Robbed the sequel.
Yeah. The sequel. robbed again. But they're like, oh, I bet it was that man we met on the stairs last night on the way here. He bumped into me, and he bumped into the other Thompson, and Tintin's like, oh, what was he like? And he's like, the Thompson, he says, he was very tall, coarse features, black hair, small black mustache, etc., etc. And Tintin's like, that's him, the man from Old Market Street, the other buyer for the ship, or the other person who wanted to buy the ship. And Tintin's like, but how could he have stolen your wallet last night if you bought it this morning? And Tom's like, you know what, that's a good point. I don't know. And so they go to report the theft. They run into the door, fall down the stairs. It's a whole thing.
And I like how he says, I'm already down the stairs.
Yeah, one of the Thompsons falls down the stairs, and the other one's at the top. He says, where are you? And when that fellow's like, I'm downstairs already. He's like sitting on the floor.
Can you catch up?
Somebody who we visited.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta
Down
go
the
fast like
stairs.
Santa. But yeah, Tintin remarks on the very poor luck that the Thompsons have. He's like, boy, it seems to be like, oh, Tintin, this is very poor wording. But he says there seems to be quite an epidemic of larceny and housebreaking.
Oh boy.
We're gonna move on from that.
Demonetized.
Instantly. Good thing we're not monetized anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tintin's like, I guess I'll get these papers sorted out. Because he didn't think to clean up immediately after. He's like, I'll wait till tomorrow to do that. Don't worry. And Snowy's like getting at something under this dresser, and Tintin's like, oh, what are you doing, Snowy? And Tintin like looks under the cabinet or whatever, and Tintin's like, is that a cigarette? That's kind of a weird place for it. And Tintin like grabs it, and he's like, oh, it's not a cigarette at all. It's a small scroll of paper. And he's like, this isn't mine though. Where'd it come from? And he's like, oh,
He just count on everything he owns.
Yeah, he has.
Not this paper.
He has a catalog in his mind of everything he owns, and on the list.
I
not
also
this
like
paper.
that he thinks it could be a cigarette.
We
we haven't seen anyone. Yeah, we haven't seen anyone of Tintin friends like smoke cigarettes.
Yeah,
No,
but
my
it does
secret
look like
stash.
one. It's so secret. It's Snowy's secret stash.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Tintin, he's like, let's go have a closer look at this. And he bangs his head on the bottom of the open drawer. Because of course he does. That's more brain damage for Tintin. And so Tintin like opens the scroll, and he's just completely confused by it. He's like, what the heck?
Big confusion.
He's big confusion. There's like at least 6 question marks. And the scroll says, oh jeez, this is gonna be fun to try and read.
Yeah, I can't read that night either.
I'm gonna do my best. Okay. 3 brothers joined. 3 unicorns.
With the Y.
Yeah, joined. It's old spelling, so, you know, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I thought it was actually a typo.
I think it's just supposed to be like an antiquated kind of spelling of it, but yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, the next line is 3 unicorns in company sailing, and the noonday sun will speak. And then they spelled sun like S-U-N-N-E. So, very old-fashioned kind of writing. And then it finishes with, for 'tis from the light that light will down, and then shines forth. And then the numbers 42, what looks like a 0, and then a 1. And at the bottom it says the eagles, and then there's a cross. And
I think that says the light will dawn.
Does it
Man,
does.
I could never even read this. I would just skip over this picture.
It does say dawn. I thought that was an O though. Anyways, I
The
did my
light will
best.
down.
So, thank you, Milku.
Yes, you're welcome.
But yeah, Tintin is like us. He says, this is all just a bunch of gibberish, and where'd this come from anyways? And Tintin's like, great snakes! It must be that it was rolled up inside the mast of the ship, and it fell out when it was broken. Good job, Snowy, you did something good, for once.
Great Scott!
Great Scott! And Tintin's like, that explains, why my house was ransacked a second time, because whoever stole the ship knew the parchment was in there, and when they realized it wasn't in the ship anymore, they came back to the house to look for it. And Snowy comments, he says, Tintin, you're a real Sherlock Holmes.
I have a question. So,
Yeah.
you know when, like, Tintin, he was at the Ivan Ivanovich Sakharin guy, he, like, I don't say kicked, but, like, he wiggled the mast on Ivan's ship, but why didn't he, like, why wasn't that loose?
Well,
Like
because
Tintin's.
Snowy knocked the ship onto the ground and it broke that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
it broke.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. And so Tintin, he's like, it's kind of weird that they wanted this parchment because it doesn't really make any sense. And then it hits him. And he's like, there's no other answer. And Tintin's like, quick, Snowy, let's go see the captain. Snowy's like, why? What is it? And
What is it now?
Tintin apparently, like, reads his mind. And he's like, treasure, Snowy. This is going to be a treasure hunt. Woo, we're going on a treasure hunt, guys. And so Tintin, like, rings Haddock's bell. He's like, and Tintin's like, I'm absolutely certain there has to be treasure. Tintin's ringing the bell still. He's like, oh, that old lazy bones, I bet he's still in bed. and Tintin finally realizes that, like, no, maybe he's not, and he must not be at home or whatever. And so Tintin goes downstairs to ask the landlady, and she says, no, I didn't see him go out anywhere. It's weird that he didn't answer the bell. And Tintin's like, oh, maybe he's sick. And she's like, no, the light's been on all night, so I don't know. And Tintin's like, well, let's go find out, you know? And they ring the bell again. And Tintin's like leaning against the door. He's like, oh, I can hear something inside. And so Tintin starts like knocking on the door. And he's like, Captain, please open the door. And the landlady's like, no, there's not a sound. And there's still no answer. And the landlady knocks. And Haddock starts shouting. And he's like, I'll shoot you if you come any closer. And the landlady's like, should I get the police? And Tintin's like, no, go get a locksmith. That's a better idea. And
Like someone's threatening to like shoot you. No, get the locksmith. Let's get over to him.
yeah, let's get the locksmith. And so Tintin's like, oh wait, but he's talking to himself. This is getting serious. And the locksmith comes up the stairs, and and Tintin's like, can you do it? And he's like, no, the door's bolted. And Tintin's like, look, let's force the door open. I'll pay for any damages. And so Tintin and the locksmith, like, force the door open. They...
FBI, open up!
You're under arrest. But they they crash through, and they stop, because Haddock is standing in the doorway with a sword. Like a real
He's
sword.
standing like he's about to create a boss fight. He's like...
Secret boss fight.
Secret boss fight.
Yeah.
That was the quest all along.
Yes. But he's like, he chases the locksmith and the landlady down the stairs, and Tintin's like, dude, chill out, please. And Haddock is just screaming like insults at them the whole time. And Haddock turns to Tintin. He says, "We won. They ran away. We win." And Tintin's like, "What are you doing?" And Tintin's like, "Why are you pretending like this? What's going on?" And Haddock is like, "I'm not pretending at all." And he invites Tintin in to like show him, and he shows the picture of Francis again, and he's like, "You see this man?" And Tintin's like, yeah, that's your ancestor, what about it? And Haddock says that last night, when he was thinking about, like, how weird it was about the ships, that he remembered there was an old sea chest in the attic that belonged to Francis. Coincidentally, he just had it there. And
Like how he just has like a 500-year-old chest in his attic.
I know, just
That's
casually,
just
like,
there.
it's weird. And he says to Tintin, I found this hat and this real sword in the chest. And Tintin's like, oh, did you find a treasure map? And he's like, no, I didn't find any such thing, but I did find old manuscripts written by Francis Haddock. And Haddock says, oh, I started reading them yesterday, and etc., etc., which is why he didn't answer the phone. So, yeah.
He was engaged in the book.
Same.
Which is why he didn't answer.
Lost in the books.
Like I can relate.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yep.
So, Haddock is like, I was still reading when you came in, and that's why you found me a little, overexcited. I might have threatened to shoot my landlady, but that was just me being overexcited. Now listen to this story. And, okay, I'm gonna be, like, dramatic reading. Okay, here we go. It's the year 1676. The Unicorn, a valiant ship of King Charles II's fleet, has left Barbados in the West Indies and set sail for home. She carries a cargo of... Well, anyway, there's a good deal of rum aboard. This is how Haddock is telling the story, by the way. And we get to see a picture of the Unicorn, and it's a very beautiful ship, actually, like, not gonna lie. And Haddock continues, 2 days at sea, a good stiff breeze, and the Unicorn is reaching on the starboard tack. Suddenly, there's a hail aloft. Sail on the port bow! And then it shows Francis Haddock. He goes, thundering typhoons! She's mighty close hauled. Ration my rum if she's not going to cut across our bows. And she's making a Okay, he says, she's making a spanking pace. Please don't say stuff like that. And he
I
says,
see.
she's running up her colors, which means they're hoisting the flags. And he looks through his telescope. A pirate flag. And Francis, he says, the Jolly Roger! Pirates! And he calls to his crew, he says, clear the decks for action! Man the poop! Stand by to haul the wind! And it's Haddock again, he says, turning to the wind with all sail set, risking her masts, the Unicorn tries to outsail the dreaded Barbary buccaneers. I definitely read that right.
Something? I like how he says that in my version it says that the Unicorn goes up into the wind to get away from them. But like turning up into the wind means you're going like straight against it. So it would just basically reverse.
Back the ship up.
That's like so.
Oh, that'd be funny if that's how it actually worked.
Yeah. Well, it does.
Yeah.
It's just not very smart.
Thank you for the insight, Kosa, because I know nothing about sailing.
You are welcome.
Yeah. So, Francis is like, oh, it's no use. She's overhauling us fast. And it shows, like, the Unicorn next to the pirate ship. It's a very dinky little ship compared to the Unicorn. But, you know.
Yeah.
And it's Haddock again. They must outwit the pirates. The captain makes a daring plan. He'll wear ship, then pay off on the port tack. And I have no idea what any of this means, but we're gonna roll with it. And he continues, as Unicorn comes abreast of the pirate, he'll loose off a broadside. No sooner said than done, which means they're gonna come up to the side and then shoot them with a cannon. And you see, like, Francis, like, shouting the orders, and the Unicorn's, like, turning, and I'm gonna translate what Haddock is saying just a little, because it can be a bit confusing, even for me. So he basically says, oh, the unicorn just whipped right around, and the pirates were taken by surprise, so they didn't have time to alter course. And so the royal ship, which is the unicorn, bears down on them, and then they fire. And you actually, like, it switches between Haddock telling Tintin the story and the unicorn and what's happening on it. And it's really cool to, like, see stuff happening after Haddock says it, because, like, you see the cannons being fired, you see Francis, like, shouting the orders, and you see, like, the battle between them, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Like in the movie.
Yeah. In the
Yeah,
movie,
I think the movie, how they portrayed this was way cooler.
it
than-
was
I know,
it was a
right?
lot cooler. It was so epic. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
It's like, yeah, it's like switching between Haddock and
Yeah,
Sir
Mhm.
Francis and like the scenery.
and it's night.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's nighttime.
And in the movie, they
And
had
like
that.
Sakharin, like, well, not actually Sakharin, but like Sakharin's ancestor, he like attacks him with his cape and while it's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, why not?
That
That's so
fight
cool.
is just so cool. I love the way the movie does it. Like,
Mm.
you know, it's just so cool. I
Just-
love watching it.
Yeah.
I like watch that. I like watched that scene so much with my family. Like when we watched it, they were like, I was like, "Can we watch it again?" That scene. They were like, "No, we watched it so much now."
Yeah. Oh, it's
I
a
thought it
good
was so
scene,
cool.
though. I mean, like,
Yes.
the part where the one ship is swinging from the other ship, unrealistic, but it looks really cool and it's fun, so who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? We're having fun. But,
It's like physics.
yeah.
As long as it looks cool, we don't need it.
This is Tintin Universe. No one cares about physics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, should I read now? Oh, you
yeah.
can continue with
no,
the.
no, you can
with the
continue.
No, no.
Okay. I mean,
Okay. I read now. Okay. Yeah. So they just fired all their cannons, and then the pirates they raised this red flag, meaning no mercy. So they, quite ironically, they do in fact. No, I won't spoil it. And this means that they kill everyone, even the last man.
mhm.
And then the frigate, or like his ancestors, what did you call him?
Francis.
Francis, thanks. They sail just up to him, up to their sides, and they wait, no, they sail behind him. They sail behind the pirates and don't get fired on. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then suddenly, sailing speech talk. They like he like does a lot of hand gestures.
Yeah, he's
And
like,
he, like-
gesturing very frantically.
Yeah. Then Francis and his comrades they get boarded by the pirates,
Mhm.
and Haddock he just like he walks on the table.
He gets on the table and knocks it over.
Yeah, and falls too. He
Tintin,
just continues.
Tintin falls over too
Yeah.
because his chair got knocked over. So you see Tintin like falling over in his chair.
Yeah. And but the battle continues. And he's like screaming with his like metaphors like, "Walk away, you dogs!
Yeah.
Back away, child! Bugs,
Oh,
shoves."
I like how he says "back you dogs" to an actual dog. It's like Snowy's
Yeah.
right in front of him.
It was funny.
Yeah. And then there's this
What
like
did you just call me?
then there's like this big fight, and he's like
Mhm.
shooting and fighting at the same time. Then there's like this like big guy. I don't know what to call him, like the senior captain. Let's call him that.
Mhm.
He's like, "That guy is me. Don't kill him." And then he kills him. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, he's like jumping up and swinging his sword, and then he accidentally punctures a pillow
Yeah.
and yeets it back in Tintin's face.
Yeah.
And then he hits this. Then he hits the light crown, the light thing. Don't laugh at my English.
It's a chandelier, I think.
Chandelier, yeah. And he falls right down his piece.
Yeah.
And the Captain Haddock says that that's just how it happened for. That happened just like his ancestor guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then the pirates, they're starting to carry their things over to the frigate instead of carrying the frigate's rum to themselves. And it's because Rackham, the red ship, has been punctured and is now drowning. I was about to say, but no,
The ship
sinking.
is drowning. That'd be quite a feat, huh? First you need lungs.
The ship is like, help me.
Help me, I'm drowning. And then Rackham, he's like, my name is Rackham the Red. Doesn't that name like make you crumble? And yeah, he has like these diamonds that he says can
They're very
wait, hold
shiny.
on. Yeah, they're very shiny. And he says it is enough to buy back a king the first 10 times. That's a lot.
Yeah. They just kind of look like pebbles, though.
Yeah, it does look like rocks.
Like those little fish pebbles. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
I was just like laughing at the last panel. You know what he says in prison? He says, "And what booty?"
Right. I got a great
Like-
booty.
Yeah.
Like, look at that booty.
Then the captain says, then he started laughing and filled his glass and emptied it just like this. And then Tintin, he like grabs his arm, so he like stops him and scoops all the water on him.
Yeah.
Or like the
Haddock
orange
just
juice.
gets. Oh, yeah, we'll say orange juice, quote unquote.
Mm.
Vacation juice.
Vacation.
Vacation juice. Yeah. Then it's night and the captain, he's like, wait, what did you call him again? I can't remember.
Francis.
Francis.
Yeah.
And Francis is like tied to the he's tied to the mast, and they did it very poorly. So it's just a rope around him. It's not like
Yeah.
his hands are tied. And he gets loose. Then he sees. Then the captain says that he sees a flask of rum, and he opens it like this. And then Tintin, how would you say it? I mean, it's hard to translate things on the spot. He
Tintin's
stops him.
Yeah. Tintin's he
Yeah, he
grabs
stops.
the bottle and is like, hey, maybe we should stop drinking.
Yeah. And then Francis, he goes down to the like place where the ammo room, and he's about to light the fuse to blow up the entire ship. And that must be like something, like a very unlucky for captain to destroy his own ship.
Yeah. Well, the pirates took it
Yeah.
over, and he's like, either this ship is mine or nobody else's.
Yeah.
Also,
And then
this fight scene in the movie was also a lot cooler, just because like they followed the trail of gunpowder, as well
Yeah.
as with the swords. But then in this one, it's just they're fighting with swords, and in the background there's the fuse. So
Yeah, and like they take it out with their feet, and they're like basically
Mhm.
doing two tasks at the same time. And it's really cool.
it was so cool.
Yeah.
I know.
Mm.
And the camera angles.
Oh, I know.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about the movie some other time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
fully talk about the movie some other time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Rackham, he like bursts down the stairs. I don't know if you can see that, but he does.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Aha! You dog! You're trying to blow us up. I will not let you do that." Cling. And then they have like this big fight, and
Mhm.
they say like stuff like, I will pull off your beard and make you eat it." And the Rackham guy, he has like 4 feathers in his head, and he will say, and the captain he's like, "Will pluck you." Um, he just says he will pluck him. Will like pick him. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's just the only thing. Hannah continues to stay in a massacre and destroying his furniture.
Yeah.
He's Then he steps on Snowy's tail. He does like a spin with his sword
Yeah.
and destroys everything. No, and he like somehow he takes down the painting of free uh, Francis,
I think he
and his
like
head gets
I think he crashed into the wall and it fell off whatever hooks it was on.
yeah probably that. And turns out Friesland free Francis. God. He killed the Rackham, and then he lights the fuse again, and he sails off on the little island
Mhm.
nearby, and it blows up.
Yeah.
These two pirates, they were like, "Look at that boat!" "Shut up, you are drunk. You can't see anything." And I like to just say that drunk equals blind.
Apparently. They're
You
like
can't
they're so drunk they're just saying things and so they see a boat they're like, oh, it's no big deal.
yeah.
Yeah, the ship's probably not gonna blow up about now.
Nope.
I'm only one day from retirement.
Oh,
I'm 5 seconds. Goodbye.
Also the
Yeah.
panels where Francis is like rowing away and then the ship blows up, they just look really nice. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
it does.
Just they look really pretty.
yeah, but like in the movie, it looks prettier.
Oh yeah.
I like how we keep comparing this scene to the movie.
Probably because the
Yeah, well,
movie's
it's the best
adapted
scene.
from this book.
Yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
Well, next
We
to
should
the
make it. We should make an episode where we just talk about the movie.
Yeah, we definitely have to.
Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down, write that down. Well, we're recording, so like
Uh,
that'll be the note.
yes. The comments can remind us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's how the unicorn went down and
Mhm.
got destroyed.
Yes.
Francis, he lived on the island for 2 years. Uh, like lived between the natives
Mhm.
until the ship picked him up. On the last pages of his diary, he leaves 3 ships, yeah, 3 model ships
Mhm.
to his 3 sons.
It's
If they both push back the masts, they will on. Wait, does it say that?
um what it says in the version I'm
Oh yeah,
looking at, he says um
if you push back both masts, um, get truth for the day.
yeah, that's basically what it says.
Uh, Nonsense.
Mhm.
Then Tintin he says, "We've got it, We've got it, Captain. We got Rackham the Red's treasure. Woo! What do you mean, Tintin? Why do you think the Friesland, Frederick, Francis?
Francis.
That's the word.
Do you want me to type it in
Yeah.
chat so you can look at it?
Yes. Yeah. Please.
There you go.
Francis.
Yes.
Why do you think that Francis would make his sons push back the mast? I don't know. Maybe he was a perfectionist and wanted his work to be done correctly. Blah 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 blah. Captain, you are so dumb. Um, and then the captain's like, "Well, how do you know that?" Because I found this paper in the ship under the mast. And then guess what? His wallet was stolen again.
No, Tintin's wallet was stolen.
Yeah.
It's almost.
Maybe you forgot it at home. No, I didn't, you stupid idiot. And then
Tintin's like,
Tintin, he says,
Thing.
yeah. Tintin's like, shut up, Haddock. Someone bumped
Yes,
into
Tintin.
me and they were a pickpocket.
Tintin.
and somehow Tintin can like remember that nonsense that was written on the paragraph paper.
Definitely.
And he says, when three brothers unite, will three unicorns get
We don't have to read
something?
it. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
But he knows
something
what's
under the.
written. He knows what's written on it because that paper was his now, and he remembers everything he has.
Oh yeah, he remembered what's his.
Yeah.
It's just like if Tintin left his wallet at home, that would probably be something that he would do.
Yeah, he probably
Yeah, and then
would
it got
do
stolen
that.
there.
And then he'd get stolen still because he doesn't lock his doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like double stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then him and Haddock, they walk home, and wait, no, they don't walk home. They walk home to that Ivanovich guy,
Yeah.
and there's this lady standing out on the door, just screaming for help.
Yeah, she's just standing there
And she's-
screaming like it's her job or something.
Yeah, and they're like, "Why are you screaming, lady?" And she said, "Well, they killed Mr. Sakharin. Someone has killed Mr. Sakharin," and they rush in, and he has the same pictures as Haddock on this wall.
It's because they both love
And-
ships.
Oh yeah, I love ships. And they see that he's not dead because he's got pulse.
Hmm.
Oh. She didn't check that.
She just sees him laying on the floor. He could have just been laying there vibing, but no, she's like, he's dead.
He could just be taking a nap on the floor.
Yeah.
And then the captain, he sees that the mast has also been taken off because that's where the paragraph thing.
No.
Yes.
What a shocker.
And the paper has been removed as well.
No.
Then guess who? Tim and Tom people. They're like, "Hello, we are here to execute Order 66. Captain, you are under arrest. We believe it is you." And he just yeets both of them out of there. And then they're like, "Okay, it's not
Yeah.
him then."
They're like,
I
oh,
don't
we were
think
just
that's
testing
how-
you. We were just
don't
making
think that's
sure it
how
was
they-
you.
Yeah. Then Ivan, he wakes up and he's just sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And Tim is like, "Great Scott! The body went away, or walked away.
The corpse walked away.
The corpse." Thanks.
That happened in a
And
book
it's
I
like-
read a while ago. But that's unrelated.
Tintin's like, the corpse is there. It's like, why would
Yeah.
you call it that?
How insulting to just call someone a corpse. Like, there's a corpse right there. I'm just sitting here in my chair. What?
I've just been knocked unconscious. Then they're like, then Tintin asks like a lot of questions, like being
Mhm.
annoying.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
he's trying to
second he's
do-
like,
He's trying to do Timpson and Thompson's jobs for them.
yeah.
Aw.
And Ivan, he says that there was this man yesterday who was trying to sell a beautiful old. I don't know what that is.
Basically,
Old
that.
keys?
Old engravings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, old engravings. Yeah, yeah. Um, and when I like went down or to study them, someone put a like chloroform over my mouth nose.
Mhm.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tim and Tom has just been standing listening,
Yeah, they're not doing their
setting
job
themselves
though.
on fire.
Yeah.
He like had his uh, loop. I'm not even calling
A
that.
magnifying glass?
Magnifying glass.
Yes.
He's pointing on his butt.
On that booty.
On that booty.
On that booty.
Yeah. And it's like, haha, the sun exists, you stupid idiot. And then they do all of this thing like, okay, that's funny.
And Tintin goes back to, okay, what did you say about the engraving?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, real quick.
yeah. And then Tim and Tom, they just flex how the wallet is like, they have like a
Elastic.
string.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
elastic
it's-
string.
Yeah, to the wallet.
Hmm.
Then they walk home again after this guy just been, nearly killed.
Yeah.
And guess who is standing in the door? It's
Who?
Blue Guy, the Blue Man.
No.
And he's like, Mr. Tintin, it is me. What do you want, Mr. Blue Guy? I would like to talk to you, but not here. Let's go inside where we can talk undisturbed.
Where I can kill you silently. Maybe.
Drive by. The Blue Guy gets killed. No, they
No.
shoot him.
The blue guy got killed by a blue car.
Ironic.
Conspiracy theory.
Blue versus blue. And then they're like, what do you want to tell us? We don't care about you. Give us the names. And he just points at some birds.
They're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Why can't you
There.
say it? I think it takes less energy to say something than to point on birds.
Yeah. Well,
And they're like,
he's delirious from the blood loss, so.
yeah.
The birds killed me.
The birds.
Watch out for the birds.
Don't trust the birds.
They're like
Don't
everywhere.
touch them. And then they're like, oh, pigeons, no mind, now he's unconscious. Next day, like he's reading a newspaper.
Also, the headline for the newspaper says "shooting drama."
In mine, it just says mysterious death.
Well, here we have
Like
drama.
Yeah, it's
That's like a
here's-
death metal album.
Yeah.
Mysterious death.
Yeah.
Bro, it's
And
just
they
a
just-
drama.
And it's just a recap of what happened. So if you don't know what happened, read that. Oh wait, listen to our podcast, you dummy dumb.
Yeah.
Listen to the hour and a half we've been talking about what's happened up to this point.
Man, we're only halfway. This is gonna be 3 hours.
We're gonna have to do 2 parts just like Broken Ear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bro,
gee.
it was so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, Broken Ear was
Yeah.
really fun.
We're
It's so
very
fun
good at
to-
going on tangents, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's
Then we
part of
get
our
on-
charm,
Yes,
Koso.
get to the
Yeah. Get to the point, guys. Yeah. Okay, then Tim and Sam, they're just standing at this they're waiting for the tram train, and this old guy, he's like trying to pickpocket them, but Tim and Tom, they had their smart invention where they would have like an elastical thing, and they like, stop, you bandit, stop right
Stop.
there,
Stop.
pull up.
Freeze.
You are under arrest, and he just runs away. But then Tom, Tim and Tom, one of them, he like takes his jacket, the thief's
Mhm.
jacket, and his what's it called?
Gloves.
Rain roof
Yes, the
and
rain roof.
gloves.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, nobody will remember that, but we do.
Inside joke.
The inside joke, yeah.
That rain
But
roof
the
thing
next
was
day
like
again.
the rain roof thing was like an hour or not an hour. Gosh, it was a year ago at this point.
Was
Almost.
good times.
It's almost our anniversary.
No, we actually passed the anniversary a couple days ago. The
well,
first
that's
episode was
sad.
uploaded the 10th.
Damn.
Well, a happy late anniversary to Tinmore.
Yeah, happy late anniversary to Tinmore. Going on 1 year now. Woo!
We're like 2 months late.
No, actually, we're almost on time. Just a couple days late. Yeah,
Okay.
we uploaded the first episode the 10th of April, so, you know.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I cringe every time I hear that first episode. Like the way I talk.
That first episode has like 1,000 views, though.
I know, right?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know
Oh
how
my
it got
God.
that. And like
They
the
all
other
get
ones.
to see our cringe.
Yeah. I guess people
Yeah.
just care more about Soviets than literally every other Tintin comic. I don't know.
Don't you think it's like because it's the first one?
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
algorithm was like, oh, channel
Yeah.
that doesn't upload like Reddit reviews.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
We should do it. We should just dedicate the podcast just to reading the same book.
Yeah.
Here's
Just on repeat.
Tintin in the Soviet.
Yeah.
10 hours.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
And then, yeah. Well, see what else on gamers.
See ya.
Bye.